Hi, my name is Flora Ipen, Chief Operating Officer of Arolf International Consult. You are welcome to this class. At Arolf, we have helped hundreds of students and their families relocate abroad through studies. The goal of this class is to help you if you're considering studying in Ireland, Canada, the UK, or the USA. This class would help you make an informed decision on which of this country to study in and why you should actually study in this country. We're looking at the quality of education in these countries, career opportunities, salary range, and post-study permit. And for people who want to travel with their families, which of these countries should you consider to travel with your family? And of course, we'll look at the current policies that apply to these countries. So if you want to study in any of these countries, this is the right class for you. Whether you're a student or a parent looking for a good country for your child, or you're a professional looking to elevate your career internationally, this is the right class for you. Again, welcome to class. My name is Flora Ipen and I will be your guide. Go get your writing materials, sit down with me, and let's learn about these countries. I bet you've heard of Canada, the US, the UK, and Ireland a million times. You probably have family members, friends, or acquaintances studying in any of these countries. These are some of the best study destinations in the world. Despite the fact that they all have quality education and are English-speaking countries, what are some of the factors that distinguish these countries from the other? First, these are 4 countries in 2 continents. So if you are considering studying in Europe and you're looking for an English-speaking society, then you have UK and you have Ireland. And if you are considering studying in North America and you are looking for an English-speaking country or country that is known for high-quality education, then you have Canada and you have the USA to choose from. These are 4 countries with diverse culture and various opportunities. Let's talk about the educational system in this country. The USA is a powerhouse when it comes to education with over 3,000 institutions across 50 states, and some of these institutions are leading institutions globally like Harvard and MIT. When it comes to education, they are top notch. In the USA, you will find programs across diverse fields and you will find specialized programs like fermentation science. You're looking for very specialized courses. The USA is a country that you want to look at. When you think about studying in the US, you think about innovation and you think about quality. The US is an innovative society and it's a very daring society, and that's how the quality of their education is. It's innovative, it's research intensive. And of course, when you study in the US, you know that you are studying in an environment that breeds possibilities, an environment that dares you to want more, that dares you to think beyond the surface or beyond what you are offered. Most master programs in the USA are for 2 years and undergraduate programs are for 3 or 4 years, depending on the course you're studying and the university you're studying at. And also, if you're looking for combined programs, there are a lot of combined programs in the USA. For instance, you can get a combined program in business administration and then information systems. So when you graduate, you're graduating with a degree in business administration and a degree in information systems. This is one of the very popular option in the USA, combined program. The most important thing you need to know is that when it comes to the quality of education, the USA is a top-notch provider of high quality education in the world. Just like the USA, the UK is another powerhouse of education with about 160 institutions combining a rich blend of historical and modern learning environments. It is renowned for its history of academic excellence. Now, a very remarkable thing about the UK is the fact that its study programs are flexible and it's a good opportunity for career transition. So let's say you studied a bachelor program in music and then after your studies, you've been working in the financial sector or a different sector, and now you want to study a master program related to what you are currently studying. It is very easy to switch in the UK. It's more like saying you are transitioning based on your career progression. So Unlike some countries like Germany, for instance, where your bachelor program has to be related to your master program if you want to study, the UK is pretty much flexible. We've seen people switch from non-health related backgrounds to health related courses. So that's a possibility with the UK. Majority of the master programs in the UK are for 1 year. So for those people who want to study within such short space, the UK is a very good option for you. And then bachelor programs are for 3 years, most of them. But then if you're an international student, you would have to do a foundation program for 1 year, except you have an A-level results. So if you have just your WAEC results or your NECO results, you will have to do a foundation program for 1 year. So it makes it a total of 4 years for most of the programs. When it comes to research and development, you have to give it to Ireland. Most of the courses in Ireland are innovative and designed to meet industry needs. And like the UK, master programs in Ireland are for 1 year, while undergraduate programs are for 3 or 4 years, depending on the institution. There are 7 universities, 7 colleges of education, and 11 technology institutions in Ireland. If you want to study a master or a bachelor program in Ireland, or a course that is more than 90 days, you have to ensure that it is on the list of eligible programs. Now, this list states all the programs that international students are eligible to study in Ireland. If you do not study a course that falls under this list, there are chances that you might not get a visa. And the good thing about Ireland is that aside the quality of education that you'll have great support from your lecturers and academic body. Irish society is said to be very supportive. Great societies to study in with beautiful, breathtaking culture and landscapes. If you're looking for a cultural society to study with quality education and great support, and a place that feels welcoming, you have to consider Ireland. On the other hand, Canada is another great society to study in. There are about 200 institutions in Canada with numerous programs in diverse fields that are industry relevant and are research focused, especially in fields like environmental science and engineering. One of the good things about studying in Canada is that if you are looking for a country that gives you a clear pathway into residency, then Canada is that country for you. We will talk about that more as we get on in the course. Now, if you want to study in Canada, ensure that the school you're applying to is a designated learning institution and it has a DLR number. What this means is that these are schools that are eligible to accept international students. So if you apply to a school that is not DLR recognized, your visa will not be approved as an international student. So ensure that the school has a DLI number, and for Ireland, ensure that the program you want to study is on the list of eligible programs. Now, let's talk about career opportunities. Aside from data that's available online, I know people who live in Canada, who live in the UK, live in US, and Ireland, and they work in this society. And from information gathered, you can tell that the USA is the big brother of all of these countries when it comes to career. The USA ain't joking. They don't joke when it comes to career and salary range. So yes, if you are looking for a thriving society, an ambitious society with huge career opportunities, whether you are a professional, a 9-to-5 person, or you are an entrepreneur, a business-minded person who is looking for a society with lots of opportunities, the USA is that place for you. They are mind-blowing opportunities across different sectors like tech, healthcare, business, media, you name it. You will find something thriving in the USA. It's the headquarters of some of the top brands and 500 Fortune companies that you know, like Apple, Amazon, eBay, Airbnb, Chevron, ExxonMobil, Meta, Microsoft, Google. In the USA, these top tech giants and giants in other sectors have their headquarters there. This boils down to the kind of society that the US is. This is not to say the other countries do not have amazing career opportunities, but then, like I said, the USA is the big brother of the big brothers. Again, the UK have good opportunities. I am in the UK, so I can tell you that yes, there are opportunities in tech, the opportunities in the healthcare, a whole lot of opportunities in the healthcare. And for people who are looking at nursing, social work, there are good opportunities in the healthcare. And then people in the finance sectors, there are good opportunities. So places like London, Birmingham, Manchester, and some other major cities, there are good opportunities as well. Now, Canada has a growing tech industry, especially in cities like Toronto and Vancouver. And if you're in tech, project management, business analytics, cybersecurity, you mentioned it, there are good opportunities for you in Canada. And in sectors like education, healthcare, engineering, they seem to have good job opportunities as well in Canada. When it comes to tech, finance, agribusiness, and life sciences, Ireland has good opportunities. It's the European hub of over 1,000 international companies like Google, Apple, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, HP, and various indigenous companies. So if you're looking for good career opportunities in the tech in Europe, Ireland is one great place that you should consider. Having spoken about the career opportunities in these countries, let's look at the salary range in these countries. The average salary in Canada is about 63,000 Canadian dollars, which is about 46,000 US dollars. And then for Ireland, it's about 45,000 euro, which is about 49,000 US dollars. In the UK, it's about 29,000 pounds, which is about 37,000 US dollars. And in the USA, it's about $63,000. So you will find out that salary in the USA, the average salary in the USA is almost $20,000 higher than all of these countries, and almost 30,000 higher than the UK. This is just an average because there are companies that could pay higher for all of these countries. You could get higher or you could get lower. Now let's talk about working during studies. In the UK, as an international student, you can work for 20 hours during session. But while you're on break, you can work unlimited or about 40 hours. So if you're an international student in the UK, you have 20 hours per week to work. Ensure not to exceed the 20 hours per week. The same thing applies to Ireland. If you're an international student in Ireland, you can work for up to 20 hours per week. While on break, you can work for up to 40 hours. For Canada, currently as an international student, you can work for 20 hours, but the government has announced a new policy that will allow international students to work for up to 24 hours per week from fall 2024 intake. So from September 2024 intake, international students can work for 24 hours in Canada, and of course you can work unlimited during studies. In the USA, it is quite different from what you have in Canada, the UK, and Ireland. As an international student, you are only allowed to work on campus during your studies for 20 hours. Unlike the UK, Canada, and Ireland, that does not restrict you to working just on campus, which means you can work outside your campus, you can work anywhere as long as you do not exceed the time. USA mandates that international students work only on campus for 20 hours during their studies. However, there are certain situations that could necessitate a student working outside their campus, and this could be based on economic hardship or special student relief. If you want to work outside your campus as an international student in the USA, it has to be under the curricular practice training, that's CPT, which is more like an internship program that is part of your course of study. So this is more like saying you're going to work at a company as a part of your course for a certain period of time. So it's different from you saying you're going to get a job to take care of yourself while studying like you would in the other countries. This is more like saying you are going for placement, or you're going for internship, or to learn outside the school environment. It has to be a part of your course approved by your institution. Currently, if you want to relocate with your family to the UK, you have to be a Master by Research student or a PhD student. So if you're studying a Master by Coursework program, you cannot bring your family, your wife, your children, but you can if your program is a research program, either a PhD or a Master by Research program. And Master by Research programs are usually for 2 years in the UK. Universities like Birmingham City University offer that. And you necessarily do not have to have a master degree already to do a Master by Research program. So you can have a bachelor degree and you want to do a Master by Research program. The difference between this and the regular top master program is that the other master program is a coursework based program. So you go to classes, the rest of them, you have assignments to do. But this is research focused. Why this is usually for 1 year, this is usually for 2 years. You do a lot of self-study. Only students on a Master by Research or PhD program can bring their dependents to the UK. Students on an F1 visa can actually bring their spouses and their children under 21 years old on an F2 visa to the USA. But while your children can study in the USA, your partner cannot work in the USA. They can engage in vocational training, volunteer with organizations, or even do part-time study, but they cannot work to earn in the USA. That's the policy. But you can actually travel with your family to the USA. For Ireland, international students are not officially allowed to bring in their dependents, but they can apply on their own to come to Ireland either as visitors, but that application is not tied to you. So the decision to grant them a visa will be based independently from you. However, PhD students and then students who prove that they have the financial capacity to cater for the needs of their families may be exempted from this rule. This is a case-by-case situation, so it depends on the immigration officer who is handling the application. For Canada, international students are allowed to bring their dependents, both their spouses and their children, while the children can study free at both primary and secondary levels. Dependents may be eligible for open work permit, which gives them the permission to work in Canada. After your studies, what are the opportunities you have to stay back in these countries? If you study in Canada and your program is eligible for the post-graduation work permit, you can stay back for up to 3 years in Canada, both for undergraduates and postgraduate students. Now, if you study a master program that is from 8 months above, you get a 3 years post-study permit to stay back and work in Canada. The good thing about Canada is that after your studies, you can then apply for the Canadian permanent residency through the Canadian experience class or express entry. With Canada, there's a defined path to citizenship. So if you're looking for a country that provides citizenship after your studies, Canada is a country that you want to look at from. It's not immediately. After your studies, you get the PGWP, that's the post-graduation work permit, and then you can, while on it, apply for your permanent residency. And then after staying in Canada for about 1,095 days, which is about 3 years, you can apply for your citizenship. And if you are qualified, you'll be granted the citizenship. So there's no confusion or there's this fear of policy might change and the rest of them, because they seem to have stable and favorable policies. For Ireland, if you study a level 8 program, that's an undergraduate program, you are eligible for a 1 year post-study permit. But if you study a level 9 program, that's a master or a PhD program, you get up to 2 years, that's 24 months post-study permits. What is the pathway to residency for Ireland? There are 2 pathways based on employment. There's a general employment permit and there's the critical skills employment permit. I'm going to explain this too. Critical skills employment permit is for high-skilled occupations in tech, pharmaceutical, engineering, finance. These are skills that are in high demand. And when you get a job under the critical skills employment permit, after living in Ireland for 2 years under this permit, you can then apply for a permanent residence. So it's a fast-track way to getting a permanent residence in Ireland, and that's why it's advisable that if you want to study in Ireland, look for courses that fall under these skills. Courses in tech, pharmaceutical, finance, these are courses that fall under the critical skills. And you can also do a research online for the critical skills list. This will help you choose a course that falls within this list, and you can better position yourself for a job opportunity within this critical skill employment permits. This will help you get a faster permanent residence. The general employment permit is for jobs that do not fall under the high skill list. That's a critical skill employment permit. And these are jobs like customer support. If you get a job under the general skill permit, you get up to 5 years to stay in Ireland and work. And then after the 5 years, you can actually apply for residence permit. So either of these permits, either the general employment permit or the critical skills employment permit, leads towards a permanent residence in Ireland. The difference is that the critical skills permit enables you to apply for a long-term stay after 2 years, while the general employment permit allows you to apply for long-term stay after 5 years. For the UK, as an international student, whether you're an undergraduate student or a postgraduate student, you're allowed to apply for 2 years post-study permit. And if you're a PhD student or a doctorate student, you can apply for 3 years post-study permit. This visa cannot be extended, but then you can switch to a work visa while on this visa. So you might be fortunate to get a company provides you with up to 3 to 5 years sponsorship. After living and working in the UK for up to 5 years, you can then apply for the indefinite leave to remain or settlement if you are eligible. In the USA, after your studies, you can apply for the optional practical training extension. That's OPT, optional practical training extension. This will give you an opportunity to work in your field of study for about 12 months after your study program. Unlike the curricular practical training, which you have to do while on your study, the optional practical training needs to be done after your studies. So this gives you an opportunity to stay in the USA for up to 1 year. While on that, you can get a job with a company that also provides you with the H-1B visa sponsorship, which allows you to stay back in the USA and work for about 3 to 6 years. Now, if you are a STEM student, say you study any of the science, technology, engineering, mathematical courses, you can apply for the STEM OPT extension. That's the STEM optional practical training extension, which allows you to stay back and work for up to 2 years in the USA. The difference between the optional practical training, that's OPT, and STEM OPT is that STEM OPT is for STEM related courses in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Allows you to stay back in the USA and work for up to 2 years after your studies, while the OPT allows you to stay back and work for 1 year after your studies. Either of these, while you're studying before the end of this extended visa, you might be fortunate to get a company that provides you with a job and then provides you with the HIB visa sponsorship. This visa allows you to stay and work in the USA for up to 3 to 6 years. Also, after working and living in the USA for some time, your employer can sponsor you for the EB2 or EB3 employment-based green card to then live in the USA permanently. That's on it on the postgraduate opportunities for these 4 countries. Let's talk about international student friendliness and community support. Canada is a very welcoming country with policies and support systems that aid integration and success. And then Ireland is said to be one of the most welcoming and friendly society in the world. So if you study in Ireland, you are sure to be in an environment that is not just welcoming, but also provides you with necessary support that you need to settle in as an international resident. The UK is a multicultural society. You will find students from different backgrounds, and so whatever your background, you are likely to meet people that are from the same background with you. And then of course, even on campus, you would find different clubs and different activities to get you settled in as an international student. Just like the UK, the USA is a diverse society with a lot of people from different backgrounds. So you will definitely find people or communities that you can actually be a part of. Canada is ranked the 4th most friendly country in the world, while Ireland is number 7. 7, of course. 7! These countries have very good support for international students, but it's also very important that you check out the school that you want to study at, look through your international student community. You can actually send a message to some of the communities to see what the activities are like and what they have in place to provide support for these students. We have built a strong community providing support for our current students and the ones that are incoming. So if you want to study in any of these countries through Arolf International Consult, you are sure to have the right support, the right guide to integrate into that country. That's one of the benefits of getting Arolf International Consult on this journey with you. The cost of living in the USA is quite high compared to the others, especially in cities like New York and San Francisco. However, there are some regions with lower cost of living. Living cost in the UK is also quite high, especially in London, where the cost of house rent is a lot more higher than other cities. Study in the UK and you do not want to go through the burden of a high cost of living, I would not recommend that you study in London. You can look for other cities that are good and not as expensive as London. According to Numbo, the cost of living in Canada is quite higher than the cost of living in the UK. Cost of living in the UK is 2.9% lower than in Canada without rent. With rent, it is 3.2% lower than in Canada. Rent prices in the UK are 3.8% lower than in Canada. Restaurant prices in the UK are 2.3% higher than in Canada. Groceries prices in the UK are 18.4% lower than in Canada, while the local purchasing power in the UK is 11.4% higher than in Canada. The cost of living in the US is 8.0% higher than in Canada without rent. With rent, it is 15.3% higher than in Canada. Rent prices in the US are 32.8% higher than in Canada. Restaurant prices in the US are 11.2% higher than in Canada. Groceries prices in the US are 6.7% higher than in Canada, while the local purchasing power in the US is 35.1% higher than in Canada. The cost of living in Ireland is about 8% lower than the USA, while rent is about 1.1% higher than the USA. However, according to Numbo, Ireland is ranked the 8th most expensive country to live in Europe, while the UK is ranked the 15th most expensive country to live in Europe. So based on that data, you can tell that cost of living, rent, and other factors might be higher in Ireland than the UK. Among these 4 countries, Ireland and the USA seem to be more expensive to live in compared to Canada and the UK. So if the cost of living is your consideration, you might want to do further research to see which of those countries would actually be more cost effective for you. But bear in mind to look at the job opportunities in the country, the salary range in that country, before you make a decision based on the cost of living. That would help you make a well-informed decision. Now let's talk about the healthcare services. All 4 of these countries offer a good healthcare system, but in the UK and Canada, healthcare is more accessible due to the public healthcare system. In the UK, as an international student, during your visa application, you will need to pay for your health insurance. IHS. Currently, for a 1-year course, IHS is about $1,495. For a 2-year course, the price is slightly higher than this. Now, IHS is calculated automatically. So during your visa application, after filling all your details, the point where you have to fill for the immigration health services, you would have to impute your course start date and your course end date. The system automatically generates a figure. The last one we did was $1,495. That figure is not static, it changes, but it's within the same range. IHS is calculated based on the duration of your program. So a 2-year program will be slightly more expensive than that. And then for bachelor students who will be going for 3 years or 4 years program, it will be a lot more expensive than that. For international students that want to study in the UK, it is compulsory that you pay your IHS fee during your visa application, because the visa application is a step-by-step process. After filling all your details, you come to the point where you have to pay for your IHS. Before you proceed to paying your visa fee, you need to pay your IHS fee. So it's mandatory. IHS gives you access into the healthcare system in the UK. So when you arrive in the UK, you'd have to register with a GP, a medical center, and then you can book appointments with a doctor if you're sick or there's any emergency. You need to be attended to by a doctor. You will definitely get access to the doctor because you have paid for your health insurance. This does not cover all your medical bills. There are certain bills that it covers. In Canada, healthcare policies differ across the provinces. Now, some schools have made arrangements with healthcare providers. So when you get an admission, it will be stated on your offer that you need to pay for your health insurance. It will be included in the amount that you need to pay as a student. For schools that do not have such arrangements, you'll be required to arrange for your healthcare services by yourself, and you can do this before arriving in Canada for most provinces. You need a card to access healthcare in Canada, and the duration to get that card differs by provinces. For Alberta, for instance, it takes a few weeks, and for a province like British Columbia, it can take up to 3 months. The earlier you apply for it, the better for you because of situations where there are emergencies. Healthcare is expensive in both Ireland and the USA, and it is not provided by the government. So as an international student, it's your responsibility to provide health insurance for yourself. If you want to study in Ireland, during your visa application, it is mandatory that you provide your health insurance arrangements. There are different health insurance providers in Ireland. You can check this out online. You see the different options there. Health insurance, it's about 150 to 200 euro for 12 months in Ireland. It's very important that you make arrangements for your health insurance from a reliable provider, as your visa will not be granted if you do not have your health insurance document attached to your visa application. Also, healthcare per night can cost up to 1,200 euro in Ireland. So it's important that you have your health insurance arranged on time so you don't have to spend so much money when there's an emergency. In the USA, there are different healthcare providers. Health insurance can cost up to $1,500 to $5,000. These health insurance providers have different plans with different costs. Take the time to look through the different plans, what they cover, and the costs associated with each before you make a decision of what provider to use. When it comes to environment and safety, I like to remind people that there is no country that is absolutely safe. I mean the 100% safe. However, there are countries with lower crime rates than the others. According to the Global Peace Index 2023 ranking, Ireland is ranked 3rd among the 15 safest countries in the world, while Canada is ranked 11. The UK is ranked 37th, while the USA is ranked 131st. And report says it has constantly seen a decline since 2016. When it comes to safety, based on the data out there, we can tell that these other countries are a lot more safer than the USA. However, there are states that are considered safer in the USA, like New Jersey, Connecticut, West Virginia, and the likes. These are among the top 10 safest states in the USA. I'd love to point out that we've had clients who studied in the USA and never had a complaint about safety in the USA. So as much as we hear that there are gun violence and all sorts in the USA, there are also safe areas in the USA. And part of the things that we do is that we take the time out to research on these areas, guiding our students on what location is best to study in. My advice is wherever you want to study in, do a thorough research on not just the country, but the location where the school that you intend studying at is. That would help you learn more about the place that you will be living in for a period of time. I hope that helps you. I guess at this point you're wondering, what other documents do I need to study in any of these countries? I got you. If you want to study a postgraduate program, that's a master program or a graduate certificate or graduate diploma course in any of these countries, major documents you will need are your passports. That's the data page of your international passport. You will need your degree certificate. For those people who have HND and ND, that's the High National Diploma and the National Diploma, if you are Nigerian, you would need both the transcript and the certificate of your ND and your HND. That's if you're applying for a graduate diploma program, or some schools that might accept you into a direct master program, you will need both the ND and the HND transcripts and certificates. And if you are a degree, and if you're a degree holder, you will need your certificate and your transcript. What else do you need? You will need your SSC certificate. So if you have your WAEC, or you have NECO, or you have GCE, you would need the certificate, the original certificate of any of these exams. You would also need an updated CV detailing what you have been doing. You're going to have the academic session and the professional session. The academic session shows what your academic qualifications are. This could include your secondary school, then your tertiary education qualifications, and then the professional session shows your professional experience. What have you been doing since you left school? You need to fill the gaps if there are any gaps. For some people who probably took time after school, probably didn't work for 1 year or something, fill in the gap. If you did internship, clearly stated that you did internship. We've had cases where some schools come back and ask for an explanation of the gap on the CV. So it's best that you fill in those gaps. Update your CV. It's essential that your CV is updated, reflecting your skills, your qualification, and you want to sell yourself in the right way. So need on CV. You would also need reference letters. Some schools, say some schools in Canada, for instance, would send a link. Even in the US, they would ask for the contact details of your referees, and then they will send a message to them directly. So it's going to be a confidential referencing. And then some schools in the UK would allow you to submit your reference letters alongside your application. So you could see on some portals it's called recommendation letter, on some other portals it's called reference letter. They are both the same. It's just basically getting someone in academics or professional setting to reference you, and the number of referencing you would need varies by schools and country. Majority of the schools request for 2 reference letters. Some would insist on 1 and some would insist on 3. Ensure that you follow guideline and provide documents according to how the school has specified. Even the transcript, some schools will insist that your school sends the transcript to them directly. Majority of the schools that we work with make provisions for these documents to be uploaded on the portal directly. You need a personal statement. Don't get it confused. If you see a letter of intent, statement of purpose, letter of explanation, or personal statement, they all mean the same thing. It's an essay written by you explaining why you've chosen to study at that school, why you've chosen the course you want to study, your career goal, how that course is going to help you achieve your career goal, and most times why you chose that country. Personal statements varies by schools. Some schools do not provide specifications on your personal statement. They might say 500 words. Some schools would detail what they want to see on your personal statements. Some schools would say just provide a letter of intent. What I would advise is that when you want to write your personal statement, ensure that you look through the requirements on the school's website so you follow the guideline that is provided. If a school says personal statement of 500 words, please ensure you do not exceed 500 words. Follow the instruction on the website. That's on it for documents required for postgraduate application. Bear in mind that there might be more documents needed based on the school's request. Some schools will request for GRE, especially if you're going to study in the USA and Canada, and that's for specific courses. All of the documents I have listed are the major documents that you will need for your postgraduate application. Now, if you are an undergraduate student or you are a parent watching this video right now and you need to know the documents that you need for your child, I'm going to give you a quick guide on documents that you need. First, your child or you as a student would need the data page of your international passport. So you need to scan the full data page. You would need your O-level results, either WAEC, NECO, GCE, whichever you have. You would also need your A-level results if you have an A-level result. People who have A-level results are admitted into the direct bachelor program, but for most school students who have just their O-level results are admitted through a pathway program. So you see that when your child gets an offer, it usually comes with a foundation in science, with a bachelor in engineering program. So the foundation is your child is going to do a preparatory class, usually for 2 semesters. If it's for 1 semester, it will be specified. After the class, the child now progresses to the bachelor program. But with an A-level result, the student gains admission directly into the bachelor program. You also need the SS1 to SS3 transcripts, that if you are Nigerian, if you are from any other country, you need the transcripts of your senior secondary class 1 to 3, depending on what it's called in your country. This transcript will show what you've studied from class 1 to class 3. You also need a testimonial from your secondary school and a reference letter. Then you will need a personal statement, like I explained before, detailing why you want to study, the course that you want to study in, and why you choose that university. You would need an updated CV. So I get this question a lot. My child just finished her secondary school. She doesn't have any work experience, so what's going to be there on her CV? Not to worry. The CV just needs to detail her academic background and then talk about what she's currently doing after the secondary school. So if she took up an internship or a voluntary task, clearly stated there. So from the time she finished the secondary school till present, clearly stated that this is what she's doing. Even if it's just a month's time, just state something there. Don't try to get it so hard to get an experience to fill in. If your child, for instance, supports in the children's ministry in the church, you can actually write it there. Tutor, voluntary caregiver, children's church, write the name of the church. Do you understand? That's an experience that counts. It's very essential for students who probably want to study nursing or courses that deal with childcare, because you're already providing support to children. So those experiences, don't throw them away. If you have a shop, if you have a business and your child comes in to support you, you can actually write it there. Write the name of the business, write the title, either storekeeper, assistant inventory officer, just write anything and write it voluntary. So it means that they are busy with their time. They are honing skills after their secondary school. So yes, they would also need an updated CV, like the postgraduate students would. Talking about tuition fee, there is no standard tuition fee in these countries. The fees vary by institutions. The UK, for instance, tuition fee ranges from about £13,500 upwards. Now, you could get some schools with tuition fee lower than that amount. Some could have tuition fee for about £12,000. Some could have tuition fee for as high as £20,000. We know that Oxford University, for instance, have very high tuition fee of about £22,000 and upwards. The exact tuition fee that you will pay as an international student will be clearly written on the website. You do not have to pay the whole of the tuition fee for the UK. You're expected to pay an initial deposit, and this differs by schools. Some schools would say £3,000. It could get as high as £7,000. Some could be £5,000 thereabouts, and you would be given a specific time to pay the balance in different installments. Be duly notified of the number of installments that you are allowed to pay as an international student. If you are not clear, do it to contact the international office to get an updated information on the number of times you're allowed to pay your fees. Now that's it for the UK. Let's talk about Ireland. For Ireland, tuition fee varies also. Some institution could be about 11,000 euro, which is quite surprising. Then it can go as high as 20,000 euro and more. Again, check the university and their fee range. Most schools in Ireland require a deposit of up to 60% or full. Unlike the UK, where you have a wide spread for your installment payments, for most schools in Ireland, you either pay 60% and then you pay the 40% as soon as you arrive, or you're given a short time, specific time to balance up, or you pay your full tuition. This is something you have to bear in mind. For visa purposes, if you want to study in Ireland, you must have paid up to 6,000 euro of your tuition fee. If your school says your tuition deposit is 4,000 euro, for instance, please ensure that you pay up to 6,000, because if you apply for visa, immigration will refuse your visa as it's not up to the required amount for visa purposes. That's it on Ireland. In Canada, tuition fee can be from 15,000 Canadian dollars to over 30,000 Canadian dollars. Again, depending on the institution, it could be lower than 15,000. Tuition deposit ranges from about 3,000 Canadian dollars to 5,000 Canadian dollars. However, there are some institutions in Canada that do not require you to pay tuition deposits before applying for your visa. We always advise that for visa purposes, you pay a certain amount towards your tuition. It shows your financial commitment to your studies. The cost of tuition in the US is pretty much more expensive than these other countries. Although you can get cheaper ones, tuition could be about 18,000 US dollars to 40,000 US dollars. But then you could also see lower than $18,000. It depends on the school and the course you want to study. For the US, not all school requires you to pay a deposit. Some schools actually insist that you do not pay a deposit until your visa is granted, while some other schools insist that you pay about $5,000 as your tuition deposit. But whatever the case is, it will be clearly stated on your offer of admission, so you ensure to read that document thoroughly. That's it on tuition payments in these 4 countries. I hope you found that helpful. Almost at the end of this class, so if you got to this point, thumbs up to you. You're truly ready to study abroad. Securing admission is one thing. Getting a visa to study in a country is the main thing. Anybody can get admission. Can you get a visa? Let me give you a quick rundown of the processes for visa application in this country. For the US, after securing your admission and paying your tuition deposit, if you need to pay your tuition deposit, or if it's a school that does not require you to pay your tuition deposit, you'll be given a form. It is called the Form I-20, which is a certificate of eligibility for non-immigrants. That's for students under the academic route, right? This form is the same thing as what you know as CAS, Confirmation of Acceptance of Studies in the UK, Letter of Acceptance for Ireland, Letter of Acceptance for Canada, and Confirmation of Enrollment, that's COE for Australia. It basically shows that you have been accepted into the institution. Details your name, passport details, date of birth, course you're applying for, the duration of your program. If you pay the tuition fee, it's going to state the amount you paid. This is the document that you would need for your visa application. After you've been given that, you proceed to paying for your service fee, as you need your service number for your application. Service fee is about $350, and you need somebody in the USA to process that for you at the bank. After that, you can then proceed with your visa application. When you fill your visa application, you will need to pay the USA visa fee at a GT bank, and it costs about $185 US. It can only be paid at a GT bank. The US visa fee, you pay the Naira equivalent, so that's going to be based on the current exchange rate or whatever the bank decides. But then go to any GT bank and say, You want to pay your US visa fee, you'll be guided on how to go about that. Once you are done paying your fee, that by then you should have been done filling your visa form, you've paid your visa fee, you can then proceed to booking an appointment for your interview. For the US, you will need to do a one-on-one interview, and your visa application is decided upon during your visa interview. The good thing about the USA is that you can be sponsored by family members or friends. Unlike the UK, that only you or your parents can sponsor you. For the USA, your brother, your cousin, your sister, your uncle, even a very close friend can actually provide their bank statement to sponsor your studies. But you need to prove your relationship with these people and explain why they are sponsoring you. For the UK, similar to the USA, after paying your tuition deposit, you'll be given a confirmation of acceptance document, which is known as the CAS document. And like I mentioned before, it shows that you have been accepted by the university. This document is what you need for your visa application. You go into the immigration's website, fill in your visa application as a student from outside the UK. After you're done filling in your application, that you fill your essential details, your name, date of birth, where you live, your travel history, you then proceed to paying for your health insurance. Like I mentioned, this is calculated based on the duration of your program. After you pay for your health insurance, you pay for your visa fee, which has recently increased to about $600 and something. The exact amount will be seen on the portal when it gets to that stage. When you're done paying for your visa fee, you then proceed to booking your biometrics appointment. Your biometrics can be done in Lagos, either Ikeja or VI, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and the new center, which is in Enugu. After booking for your biometrics appointment, then you prepare to go do your capturing at the biometrics center. Bear in mind that you need a tuberculosis certificate to ensure that you book for your tuberculosis test ahead of the time. For the UK, you need a bank statement of 28 days, but we usually advise our clients that they provide 30 days bank statement. The bank statement has to show proof that you have sufficient money to cater for your studies and your living expense. So this would include your tuition balance. Let's say your tuition fee was £15,000 and you paid £5,000. So you need a balance of £10,000 plus living expense for 1 year of £9,207. If you live outside of London, if you live in London, that's going to be slightly higher than that. So it's going to be £10,000 plus £9,207, which is going to be about £19,207. We usually say have a little bit higher than that. Using a bank statement in your local currency, for those of us that are Nigerians, if you want to provide bank statement in your Naira account, please ensure that you have much more than what's required. So if you convert the money and what's required is 30,000, if you convert the money and what's required is 30 million, I would advise that you have up to 35 to 40 million, because we've seen how our currency has been. You already know. So yes, ensure that you have more than what's required. And if you have a foreign account, like a dollar account or a pounds account, I would advise that you keep your money in those accounts to avoid the exchange rate fluctuation. Otherwise, your Naira account is fine. And the money can only be in the student's account or the parent's account. For Canada, you would also need your letter of acceptance to apply for your visa. After filling your visa application, you need to pay your visa fee of about 150 Canadian dollars and your biometric fees of about 85 Canadian dollars. You also need to do your medicals. This can be done after your visa application, or you might decide to wait till the immigration requests that you provide medicals. You need to show about 4 to 6 months bank statement proving that you have sufficient money to take care of your studies and your needs while in Canada. This would include 20,635 Canadian dollars for your living expense, cost of your travel, and your first year tuition balance. Finally, Ireland. After receiving your letter of acceptance, you then go ahead to fill your visa application form. You would also need to fill an application letter, which is more like your personal statement explaining why you want to study in Ireland. You will need to fill a 4-page questionnaire. the document is available to download on the immigration site. Visa fee costs €60 for Ireland. Now, for all of these countries, there are documents that you would need to provide alongside your visa application, and this would include confirmation of study document. This is your FI-20 for the USA, CAS for the UK, letter of acceptance for Canada and Ireland. You will also need to provide evidence of your tuition payment. For Ireland, you would need to show proof of your health insurance as it's a mandatory document for your visa. You will also need to provide your English proficiency test as well as your academic documents. If there are extra documents needed to provide, it will be clearly stated on your application portal. Do well to put in clear copies of your documents and ensure that these are authentic documents. I hope this class has given you good guide to help you make informed decisions if you're considering studying in any of these countries. It's important that you look at not just the educational system of the country, look at the career opportunities that are there, the post-study opportunities, and if you're someone who wants to travel with your family, consider the opportunities available for people who have family members to bring their family alongside with them while they come to study in that country. Considering these factors holistically will help you choose a country where you can thrive academically and also have a fulfilling personal and professional life. If you need further guide, you need a trusted partner to work with you on this journey till your success is achieved, then you need Arolf International Consult. At Arolf International Consult, we have worked with hundreds of Africans like you and their families achieve their relocation dreams. There are different things that make us stand out. From academic and career counseling, admission and visa application, down to connecting with other students in these countries, we ensure that we provide the right support that you need to settle into your study destination seamlessly. At Arolf, we're not just an agency that processes your application into our partner institution. We're a trusted partner that's committed to your success. We partner with institutions in Canada, the UK, the USA, Ireland, and even Australia. So if you want to study in any of these countries and you need reputable institutions like Marshall University, University of Northampton, Ghana University, University of Canada West, Niagara Falls University, Holmes Institute, Birmingham City University, Manchester Metropolitan University, you name them, we'll be glad to work with you through this process. Why should you choose Arolf International Consult? First, academic and career counseling. We understand that the course you study in any country has direct impact on your career. And so what we do is that we take the time to go through a one-on-one personalized counseling session with our clients, helping them understand what course is good for them to study based on their career goals, based on their strengths, and then also looking at the skills of the future and the skills that are in demand in those countries, especially for students that are looking at building their lives in those countries. We also help you through the process of university selection. We know that there are a variety of universities with good offers and good features. What we do is that we take the time to help you look through these universities and guide you in making a choice that fits into your financial circumstance, your academic circumstance, and your learning desires. We not only stop there, we handle your application processing, guide you on the necessary documents you need for your application, ensuring that these documents meet the university standard and give you high chances of securing admission. We also guide you on how to write your personal statement. So with us, you need not worry about how to write your personal statement because it can be quite overwhelming writing the personal statement and having to explain to people why do you need to study here, why do you even have to explain all of these things if you have the money to pay your fees. But then that document is very essential, so we guide you through the process of writing your personal statement, ensuring that you write a statement that sells you well. That's not all. Should you need to prepare for an interview, you would never have to do it alone. If it's a visa interview or it's an interview with your university, Arolf International Consult is always here to support you. We have supported our students, even the ones who have phobia for interviews. We guide them through a calm process, helping them understand what the interview entails and how they can actually ace this interview. So with us, whether it's visa interview or interview with the institutions, you are never alone because your success is our success. And of course, your visa application. Do you think we'll let you do your visa application alone? Hell no. Your visa is our visa and we will handle your visa application thoroughly. This is why we have a 98% visa success rate. We have an experienced and internationally trained team. So when it comes to visa immigration policies, we stay up to date, ensuring that we put in the right visa applications for our clients, enhancing their visa chances. Beyond your visa application, we go through a process of pre-departure briefing. What this means is that before you leave your country to your study destination, we take the time to prep you ahead, provide you with a document that explains what you need to travel with, how to prepare for your arrival. All of this we do is to ensure that you are never alone on your journey. Plus, we connect you with other students in that study destination. How does it feel like to have your agent link you up with another student to help you settle in? Awesome. Awesome, I can tell you for sure. At Arolf, we are result-oriented and committed to excellence. So if you want to study in any of these countries, feel free to contact us, www.arofconsult.com. You can check us on IG, Arolf International Consults, on Facebook at Arolf International Consults, or you can contact us via the details on your screen. To get started on your study abroad process, contact us now. Now, you stop looking at me. Get your phone, dial our number and call us right now. We will be glad to walk you through the process. Bye.